Cruel, cruel world, must I go on? Cruel, cruel world, I'm moving on. Hi. Today I'm going to talk about Yellowstone. And actually, Yellowstone in comparison to 1883, both shows being created by writer, director, show creator Taylor Sheridan. Now let me start by saying that this is going to be kind of a review, but also more of just a mix between what I thought each show did differently and which shows did better, how they did, worse in comparison. Let's go ahead and begin by the fact that Yellowstone is 4 seasons, and 1883 only has 1 so far, so you definitely have to take that into consideration when comparing these 2 shows. The first part of this video is going to be spoiler-free, and then I'll get more into the weeds later with spoilers and stuff like that. So right off the bat, the thing that really stuck out to me when talking about 1883 is just the heart that this show has, the emotion, the drive of the characters, that feeling you get in your heart because the writing combined with the acting in 1883 is so good. I teared up a couple times. It's a very emotional show. It hits you right in your soul. It's so good.
Hell yes, I'm man enough.
Now, this goes without saying. Well, I guess it doesn't because I'm saying it. But they both have S-tier writing and S-tier acting. The writing and the acting in this show is phenomenal. They also have both really good cinematography, although I will say the cinematography in 1883, I think, is noticeably better. Just the backdrops, the scenes. Sorry if you hear the dogs in the back, they're a bit loud.
You see, what happens is blood starts to boil.
One second, the dogs are getting a little bit wound up. Shut up! All right, we're back to fun. One of the things you'll notice is that in 1883, the main character, Elsa, the blonde gal you see maybe in the trailers, she kind of narrates everything that's going on, but in a very kind of poetic and dramatic way. And while a part of me wishes that she kind of narrated things in my life, making them more just interesting and romantic, like he went to that Chipotle, he didn't know what was in store for him later on, but he knew that the way it tasted in that moment, nothing else would matter down the road and how it would come out. Now, she does narrate everything, but I gotta be honest, by the end of this show, 1883, Elsa she gets to be a bit much. Everything she does just either makes me roll my eyes or cringe, but we're going to get into more of that later. Now, if you're unaware, 1883 is a prequel to Yellowstone, and at first glance, they really don't have much in common other than maybe like the setting of that kind of Midwest America. But really, as you watch both shows, the biggest connection you can make between the two of them is the family. It's different generations of the same family, and you can tell they're the same family by that unrelenting toughness to fight for what's important to them. Now, I can't really get into much more without getting into spoilers. Both shows are great, especially if you love like Westerns. 1883 is amazing. Yellowstone, I'm sure you've heard praise far and wide. It's a great show. You can watch either of them, you can't go wrong. We are gonna get into spoilers. But now we're gonna get into spoilers. Alright, so I watched Yellowstone all 4 seasons before I watched 1883. Let me start by saying what I think Yellowstone does well. Taylor Sheridan, who is the creator of both shows, he also created Sicario and I think Mayor of Easttown. What he does so well is he really knows how to make his scenes, and by extension his action scenes, feel so real. Take movies like The Equalizer or John Wick. They're not technically classified superhero movies, but they basically are. You have Denzel Washington, who's a 60-year-old something man, who's basically fighting off 12 guys at once flawlessly, and he just walks away unharmed. John Wick is falling off of skyscrapers onto the ground, and then walking away like he's tuckered out from a Spartan race. Point is that while these action movies are based in reality, nothing that happens within them is realistic. The reason why Rip feels so badass is because everything he is doing is completely believable while still being impressive. I will say that I think Yellowstone does a better job of this, staying more grounded in its action than 1883 does. Especially as it gets later on in the show, there's that scene where the 3 main characters, Sam Elliott, Tim McGraw, and the other guy, are fighting off 12 bandits. They just hunkered down and they're popping them off like they just chugged back a bottle of whiskey to max out their dead eye, and they're just and then they walk away unscathed. Well, not unscathed, but the point is, it starts to lean a bit more towards unbelievable and over the top. Now, I think the main thing that both shows suffer from is character choice. Don't get me wrong, the writing in here is absolutely incredible. But Beth, hating Jamie as much as she did and being as cruel to him as she was, I get her reasons, but it still came across a little bit unbelievable.
How's that taste, you pussy?
And it was kind of hard for me to buy into at times. Also, the subplot with, I can't remember his name right now, but the old guy in the bunkhouse, Rip's friend. His whole thing where he gets all bent out of shape about that 20-something-year-old coming in, and then, he's all surprised when the, what do they call them, the saddle hoppers She goes on to the next hot guy that walks in the room, and he like can't get over it. He is just dumbfounded and just so mad. And so like that to me, like it felt a little bit odd that that character was making that decision, but it still made for, I guess, an interesting subplot. But when talking about character choice, 1883 suffers from this the most, and it's my biggest gripe with the show. So we see the caravan strolling up the Oregon Trail when Joseph, the main like leader of the immigrants, his wife is on a horse. The horse gets bitten by a snake, and the wife falls off the horse. Joseph, he goes to investigate what happened. He gets bitten by the rattlesnake, and now cut to, they're both like incapacitated in the back of this wagon. And the leader, I think it was Sam Elliott, he comes up and he's like, "Oh my God, what happened to him?" And then some lady's like, "Joseph, he was bitten by a snake and now his leg is all poisoned and infected." And meanwhile, Joseph's like, all twitched out. And then he looks at the wife and he's like, "What happened to her?" And they're like, "Oh, well, she fell off the horse." Now, if she was just like knocked out or incapacitated for a little while, okay, I believe that, sure. She got knocked out unconscious. But no, Joseph, because of the poison that's in his leg, he can barely stay awake. They eventually have to saw off his leg.
What are you doing?
And then he's laying in the back of the wagon, no leg, barely alive. You're thinking, well, at least, man, he definitely had the tougher of the two, but I think he's going to be okay. He looks over and the wife is stone cold dead. Now, here's the thing. Bull riding exists, and people walk away from that just fine, for the most part. It wasn't like she was fighting a horse to the death. She just fell off of the horse and died. I'm getting sidetracked. And Elsa, oh my God, by the end of the show, everything she was doing had me rolling my eyes or cringing, like I said before. Basically, every choice she ends up making puts her in a position where she has to either be saved or someone else is getting hurt. She shoots one guy who had his hands like tied behind his back, and she starts acting like she's the most ruthless gun in the West. Later on in the show, she like rides up to this fort, and there are these soldiers who are like, "State your business, we're here to protect whoever's here." And they look at her like, "What's your business here?" And she's just like, "Oh, you boys. You don't know what I've had to go through out there in this world. Maybe someday you will. But you're talking to a stone cold killer. And I'll put you in the ground." It's like, come on. Now, I love both of these shows, but for different reasons. I think Yellowstone is a bit more grounded, especially in its action, and is a bit more intense and a bit more sharp with its writing as far as like its wit and its cutting dialogue.
Get on the horse, Jimmy. Jimmy, get your ass up here.
You saw Trout?
Shut the fuck up, Jimmy. You got stragglers in the trees. I want you to come with me. I ain't asking your fucking permission, Jimmy. I'm telling you. Now let's go.
Well, 1883 had more emotion and more heartfelt moments between the characters, and the writing, oh my God. The emotional writing 1883, some of the stuff they say just hits you right in your soul. It's so good.
There are few things that focus one solely on the present. Terror is one, grief another, but nothing washes the world away like the lips of another.
So with the verdict, I believe that Yellowstone as a whole overall is a better show. Granted, it's had more legs to stand on, because there's 4 seasons, whereas 1883 is, I guess, more of a pogo stick, so only has 1 season. But I enjoyed 1883 more because it's got more emotion, and your boy's an emotional guy, and I like shows that have heart. That said, I think they're both S-tier shows, and I recommend both of them to you. That's it, y'all. I've been kind of slacking on the videos lately because of Elden Ring. Elden Ring has taken over my life, and I'm enjoying every single second of it. And I won't apologize for it because I love it. It's like the best game I've ever played, well, since God of War, so that's that. All right, go ahead and like and subscribe if you want to. If you don't, well, I'm gonna succeed without you anyways. But if you could like, that would really help me succeed. All right, thanks, y'all. Have a good one.